Good morning and happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, and as always, I want to thank you for taking the time to join me either here live on Sunday mornings at 11:11 or at your convenience at a later time. Also, I get these uploaded over to YouTube, my YouTube channel, so they're available there. Most people do watch it here, and but if you don't do Facebook, you can always watch it over on YouTube. So, hope everyone's having a good week, and I'm just looking out my windows here at the beauty of the leaves changing color, one of the most beautiful times of year up here, and people come from all over to see our beauty in the fall. So it is beautiful, and the weather's getting a little crisper and not cold yet, but just perfect. So it's beautiful here. I know it's beautiful wherever you are because beauty is everywhere, right? In God's beautiful earth. Well, hey, Becky, good morning. Seeing you here today. Happy to see you. And great to see everybody else. First of all, just want to welcome and thank you all for joining me. Invite you, good morning, Dawn, another Huntingtonian. I'd like to invite you to share this. If you feel moved to do so, you just push that share button after we're done and pass it along. Or if you don't, that's good too. So just a reminder, the prayer ministry is here to serve you. You can go to my website, charlottemcginnis.com, scroll down and you'll see the link for the prayer request, and just click on that, submit your prayer, and voila, it will go out to the team. Also, you can just text me or send me a note, and I'll be happy to add you on, or anyone you might think who could use some prayers, because our prayer team is powerful and prayer works. So, I was I was sad when I saw that Diane Keaton had passed. She was always one of my favorite actresses, and I always just loved her style and her spirit, and I just imagined that she would have been just a blast in real life, and by the statements from her friends, she definitely was one of a kind, and blessings to her family and friends and all her fans, because it is another loss. We as we get up there in years, we begin to realize, wow, she's 79. When we were maybe 15, that seems so old. But now it's like, well, that ain't so old. So anyway, you begin to think differently. So my message is cherish every moment. We don't know when our time is, but it's all about living and being in as much joy and peace as possible in every moment. Let go of the small stuff. And remember, it's all small stuff. Hey, Janie, good to see you from Florida. Janie's a longtime friend, and her mother was a wonderful lady and a friend for many years in Florida. So great to see you, Janie. And Janet, always good to see you. So love seeing everyone pop up here. And I've said this before, I don't know why some people pop up and some don't. But for those that don't pop up, hi to you too. So today's topic is faith, friends, prayer, and trust, and then, of course, patience. And we're going to talk about that today, and how, going through these tumultuous times that this Mother Earth, and politically and financially and everything else in between, it's definitely difficult times on planet Earth. We have our own, issues within our little circle, our family, our friends, our own lives. And then you got a little extended, and then it extends more and more and more. And there's a lot of stuff, and we do talk about this on a regular basis, because it's not so easy to walk in peace and grace and forgiveness during these tumultuous times. And so I'd like to just start and say that many of you know, I don't really want to get into the personal effects of it, but the past few years have been a really biggest life challenge I think Ellen and I have had, and no, it's not between us, but it's been a big challenge, and very difficult, and painful, and by my ego's judgment, very unfair, and I could go on, but I'm not going to. And it's definitely forced me and Ellen to go into a deeper place of healing and really put our spiritual practice to work at a deeper level. And in many instances, we've done really well with it, and in some, not so good. There's been a lot of everything coming up through it. But I will say, thankfully, that we are, I believe, out of the woods, out of the bushes, and have had some great decisions made that support some good things. And so we're really happy and relieved about that. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting us through this in prayer and friendship and just reaching out. It really has helped us get through it and means a lot. But, it is life, and in the realm of other people's issues and problems, I know it's everybody's got issues. So I'm only sharing this as an opportunity for us to each look at where we're dealing with challenges and stresses. And good morning, Shirley. In our own lives, and how I can share, as they say in certain rooms, experience, strength, and hope, as to where I got my strength and hope and healing, and maybe it'll help you guys. And please give me feedback here. Just type it in, and I'll share it with the group, because we don't heal alone, as we all know. So as I go forward, some of the things that came up as I was reflecting, because I can tell you I've been able to exhale a good bit. I've been on so tense for a while now, and to really just be able to feel my body, be able to relax. Now, I could have gone through this as mastery, and as I teach, I didn't have to carry that, but I was doing as best I could during the time. But now that I've really felt myself relax, my body, my mind, my spirit settle in a little bit, I've reflected and what was supportive, what was really helpful. And so some of the things I've come up with are faith, friends, prayer, trust, and patience. So I'm going to go through a few of these, and I hope they'll be helpful to you. And of course, I'd love to hear from you guys. We're all exchanging here. Sometimes I'm the teacher, and sometimes you're the teachers. And we're all giving and receiving. And as the Course in Miracles says, those of us that may be in a more aware, enlightened space are able to help those who are maybe in a place of darkness. And sometimes our roles reverse. So sometimes we're the recipient, and sometimes we're the giver. And since we're all here walking each other home in every moment, it's important that we recognize sometimes we do need to reach out. So every faith, I think, is trusting and knowing that all will be well. And faith for me is, even though once I've exhausted all of my ego thinking and all of my resources and all of my thoughts about how things should be, it's like, okay, well, I guess I got to turn to you, God, because nothing I'm doing is working. And I think that, we don't have to wait till, we get in such a dark place, but rather just as our faith grows and builds through practice and presence, the faith is right there for the taking. And our faith grows stronger through practice and devotion and sharing and our own healing and our stories and how we've overcome those. And so the Course in Miracles teaches us that, we really are always put our faith in something. And I'm either putting faith in a situation to harm me or a situation to heal me. I'm either, in other words, you could say some people put their whole faith in healing, physical healing, for example. They put their entire faith in God. And they say, okay, God, I surrender this to you. Guide me through the process. And then some people will put their entire faith in God and say, okay, I don't want to deal with this. Take it. Doctor, tell me what to do. Tell me what pill to take, what to do, and I'll just do it. And I think that there could be a marriage of the two that really, if we're guided, if we surrender to Source, to God, then we'll be guided to make that decision and take that action which serves me or you where we are at any given moment. So, but ultimately my faith is in God, and I know when I go there first, everything I need will be revealed, and I'll be guided to that which actually serves my greater good for that situation. And so every moment we're choosing which teacher we want to follow. Do I want to follow the teacher of fear, which is the ego, or do I want to follow the teacher of love, which is God? And what we're here to do is to really tip the scales and let go of those fear-thinking ideas and giving our faith to the fears. Don't feed the fears, as they say, but rather feed the love, and then tip the scales this way to where we're just flushing out the fear and the darkness. And interestingly enough, I'm going to talk about this particular thing more next week, but I've gotten really interested in, I'm always interested in holistic natural healing and just integrative and all sorts of things. Not to say that there's not a place for the medical field and model by any means. Allopathic medicine has served many great purposes, but I do know that God has also placed within us everything we need to overcome anything. And so it's been interesting, of course, the algorithms of YouTube, which I watch a lot, and it just pops up exactly, it's like, oh, no mistake. Yeah, I want to watch that. And this week I got turned on to a really cool book called The Biblio Diet. And it was written by a fella named Jordan Rubin, and I think his name is Matthew Axe, A-X-E. He's a doctor, and Jordan Rubin, I've known of him and actually met him on occasion. He's from West Palm Beach, Florida originally. He had, without going into a whole lot of detail, which I will next week more because I think I'm going to go there next week, but he did overcome a very serious death, which looks like a death sentence for him. And all I want to say today, and I'll go into the details more or less next week because it's a really neat story and gives you a lot of faith in what is possible. But just remember that he chose to follow the path of God for that which the doctors told him he had 100% chance of not surviving if he didn't do what the doctors had said. Yet that still small voice said, trust me, and he did, and his faith in God allowed him to heal and beyond. So we're going to talk about that more next week. But in the meantime, if you're interested, I would recommend going on YouTube, just looking up the Biblio Diet, Jordan Rubin. There's a lot of interviews about this, and they're very interesting. And actually what he's come to find out is contrary to a lot of things, healing ideas of the past. I'll just leave it at that. So the Course in Miracles emphasizes the importance of faith and trust in overcoming fear. We place our future in the hands of God. We embrace love and gratitude and recognize our entitlement to miracles can lead to true peace and liberation. So there's a lesson in the Course. I am entitled to miracles. Oh, thank you, Sue. It's good to see you. Bless you too. So by placing our future in the hands of God, we're always guided to that which serves our higher good. But sometimes we, as Marianne Williamson once said, we think God may have lost our file, so I better handle this. But once we realize that God definitely knows every hair on our head and has not lost our file, that when we and accept the fact that we are so loved and we are entitled to miracles, and the only one that's keeping us from receiving miracles is ourselves. That stinking thinking, that fear, that attachment to the illusion, all these programs that we've led to believe. So we're here to flush all those out and just keep our mind focused and present in love. And so, faith is a huge aspect of walking in the light. Friends and family, and I want to add to that neighbors. I have to say we are so blessed with all of the above: friends, family, and neighbors. And it's get by with a little help from our friends. I've got my my groups that I lead, and they're so supportive and loving and really deep and powerful. And of course, everyone's welcome to participate and join us if you'd like in those, Wednesday and Friday. The prayer ministry, we've got this little community here on Sunday mornings, and of course I've got my tribe of friends and friends here and there and everywhere, and just I choose to see this as a friendly universe, so I choose to see everybody as my friend, and as a result, we attract more friends, right? So it's important to be able to be open to receive friendships in our lives. Some people shut down and isolate, but it is, we don't have to go through this journey alone. And the blessing of friends, family, and of course neighbors. I never imagined, and some of you all know that years ago, after we moved in here, we've lived here 20 years, our neighbors weren't so nice, and we came this close to leaving. It was really an interesting situation, but by the grace of God, we stayed here, and we have relationships with our neighbors now that is remarkable and very caring, supportive, interactive, and trusting. So it's really an amazing thing, and I'm so grateful for that as well. So friends, family, and neighbors, yes. Prayer, of course, is the center of all of our healing and what gets me through the day. And prayer is really, our thoughts are prayers. Every time all my thoughts are prayers. It's just this constant connection or conversation with Source, with love, with God. So, just being able to say, okay, help me here. I'm having a hard time. You get up in the middle of the night, your mind starts racing. Okay, Spirit, I surrender this to you, Holy Spirit. I pray. The Lord's Prayer is a fabulous prayer. Scripture, reading the Course in Miracles, inspirational books, daily devotionals, whatever, anything we can bring into our life that gets us into that mindset of hope and healing is definitely helpful. But true prayer is union with Source. It's when I am totally in a place of communion and allowing Source to work miracles in my life. And so when we put the prayers out there, and that's why it's so, the prayer ministry is so wonderful. Our prayer ministry is pretty large. We have well over 100 people involved in the daily active service through prayer. But there's other prayer ministries that are, thousands, hundreds of thousands that are doing so much work. And to understand the power of prayer is really that collective intent and heart to bring healing to every situation. So sometimes we can't do it alone. So when you have all of these souls, beautiful souls, just sending light and love to your situation. And of course, my prayer is always, thy will, not my will, be done. And so that means I'm willing to surrender. Often I'll get in there, though, I'll admit it, and say, oops, I better take this one just in case. Never works. Just, by the way, you don't have to go down that path unless you want to. So prayer is huge. Trust, it sort of goes hand in hand with faith, Trust would settle every problem now. If we really would just trust in God, in love, there would be no problems. But we not only sometimes don't allow ourselves to trust in God, we focus more on the problem, which makes it bigger, because I'm feeding it with my fear, my anger, my frustration, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I would strongly suggest, as the Course in Miracles says, trust would settle every problem now. Well, in Scripture, Proverbs, we learn that trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not to your own understanding. So to me, that's very much in alignment with really what all great teachers and sages and spiritual teachings have taught us, is that, the ego mind, the devil mind, whatever you want to call it, the dark, the program, our subconscious, whatever it is, when we lean on that understanding, we're never going to find healing there. So what we really have to do is trust in God with all of our heart and not lean on our own understanding. And it works, but sometimes it always works. These are not, these are truths that there's no wiggle room. It's not gray at all. If we truly trusted in the Lord and let go, we would see and experience everything completely different. And it's us as free will beings, we get to choose who is our master in every given moment. So surrender. And of course, patience. There's a quote in the Course in Miracles, or I'll say a line, it says, infinite patience brings immediate results. And it's so true. It's like, okay, I prayed, I've read my devotionals, and I've reached out, and I've done this and I've done that, and nothing's changed, and this stuff doesn't work, and whatever, and we get frustrated. Well, I'm gonna go back to the old way. And it's really because we're not, maybe our faith isn't strong enough, we're not trusting. And of course, a big lesson is, what do they say, the patience of Job. So we need to be patient and trust the process, because there's a huge tapestry that is all encompassing that sometimes takes a while to unravel before we see the fruits of our devotion. And if we have enough trust and faith and patience, we will see that which we are truly yearning for. And of course, I want to go back to just a little reminder I mentioned a minute ago, is surrender, trusting the will of God. Thy will, not my will, be done. And when I allow that, I think I'm opening up to bigger possibilities. But if I'm praying for a specific outcome, chances are I'm very limited, and then often we'll get that. We're praying so hard and we do all these things, and then it's like we get it, and it's like, whoa, no, I didn't mean that. I don't want that. And it's kind of like, again, do we have faith in God's will or don't we? And it's a practice, and it's a discipline. And, it's through our discipline and daily devotion to love and source, our faith gets stronger, and we trust in God's will more. So, gratitude is also huge. We think that we have, as we often hear, when we focus on gratitude, which is one of the most high vibration energies, I would say, that there is in the universe. The universe gives us more to be grateful for. It's an energy, it's a vibration. And every time I'm grateful, I'm lifting the energy of the whole collective, like I talked about last week, the quantum stew. We're all lifted by every act and thought of gratitude from each other. And so everything is truly for our best interest, and everything is working together for good, even if it doesn't look that way. And it's I think the faith and the strength is saying, okay, God, don't really like this, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all things, because I know that your will is omnipotent and holds my best interest in heart. And yes, so you were president of the pig-headed union. Yeah, I've been there, done that. I think we can all relate to that. So, but it's being able to just be open about it and to say that without being judged or judging self or each other. And yeah, I think we've all been there. That's why we're here every week. That's why we do what we do, because our way is not working. Okay, thy will, not my will, right? So, and of course, once we get, I believe the biggest function, and according to the Course, and we hear it in Christianity and Judaism and all the world's major religions, is forgiveness. And forgiveness is really, I think, one of the hardest things to do, especially when we've made up the story of betrayal and abandonment or whatever it is. Then when we're able to forgive, we're able to erase the story completely, which is, it is possible. It really is. And when I erase the story completely, this is what's so cool. And I'm going back a little bit to the idea of patience. And, you know, when we trust and stay patient in the process, then we can actually begin to live by the secret of transformation. And that is, what's the secret of transformation? It's how we handle every given moment. So, you know, it's, I've also, another thing we'll be talking about here shortly in the next couple of weeks is another book I've delved into, which I've mentioned already, Taming Our Thoughts. And it's really a wonderful book. It's all just about recognizing the power of our thoughts and how we get these runaway thoughts, which are fearful, dark. This is a Christian author, and he refers to it as Satan. If that works for you, that's fine. The devil, the ego, whatever it is. But just understand that it's dark, right? And we give our power to that, and we run away with those. So, and usually those thoughts are because of the stories of our past or the fear of the future. So I know I like the idea of being in the eternal now, which is fully present in love. And the very cool thing is, as we handle each moment with grace and faith and trust and stay present, I'm erasing my past and I am opening up the future for only good. And that is, I think, the transformation. You know, we get out of duality, we get out of the story, because in this moment, as I stay present, the past evaporates. It's no longer there, and I'm present and surrendering to Source, and my future is totally in the hands of God, and all is totally well. So it's a process, and forgiveness is a big part of that. And when we forgive, you know, the old model of forgiveness is, and it's not a very effective one. I mean, I'd say it's on the ring of the ladder. It's, you know, if you're down at the bottom floor, it's definitely a step in the right direction, no question. But the old model is, you know, we don't really let go of the story. I forgive you because you're a schmuck and I'm better than you, and now that I'm spiritual, whatever, the story we make up, and, you know, whatever it is, you know, that's not really forgiveness, but it's a movement in the right direction. It's a little willingness, right? But as we move up the ladder of awareness, you begin to realize that true forgiveness is total erasing. It's never happened. And that means that I give it no more energy, no more thought. I've erased it from my memory, from my body. I do know it's possible. I haven't really attained that yet. Maybe you all have. Good on you. If you have, I'd love to hear how. I know how. It's just the reason we don't do it, or I don't, is because I'm still holding on to parts of the story, right? But true forgiveness is forgetting. But in the meantime, you know, whatever we do, that little willingness, and the Holy Spirit will meet us where we are and say, okay, I don't want to stay stuck in this story. That situation, that person, whatever it is that I'm holding on to, this grievance, is an obstacle to my awakening, to my being in my most elevated state of awareness, of me going from duality to oneness. And so if you really want to awaken from this dream of insanity, which it is, all of it, we have to be willing to let go. And we do that through practice of forgiveness and surrender and all of the things that we're talking about here today and every week. So it's we got to fill our hearts and our minds with the with things that help us nurture our spirit, not the story. And Krishnamurti, he says, to fill our heart with the things of the mind is to leave no room for love. So we have our, hearts and minds filled with all this fear and crap and stories and, all whatever it is. And so it's like there's only so much room, and it's like, well, we're not making any room for the light to come in because I'm so clinging to whatever I cling to, right? So, often the healing process too, ultimately, I think when we get to the highest level of forgiveness, it is erased. It's forgiveness. I think, the final step, as I talk about, is we're all holding hands, the global family, and we're smiling and we take a bow, and everyone's played their roles, and they, and then when we finally, it's like this earth, universe, as Gary Renard so beautifully titled his first book, The Disappearance of the Universe. It's like it all disappears, and we're in the total state of awareness, of purity, of oneness and love, which we're never going to find in this world. That, to me, is heaven. And so all of these lessons on earth, sometimes part of, I think, the healing process is not about forgetting. It is ultimately about forgetting, but part of the process is seeing how we've grown and changed, and we need to acknowledge our growth and our pain and healing. And then we're able, when we see that this was actually, wow, that was a really difficult thing, but you know what, I got so much growth from it, and awareness, and it's deepened my faith and my trust in source and all of this. And then all of these things are, steps to help us get to wake up to the truth of who we are. And then when we fully let go of all of this, we acknowledge and give ourselves credit for what we've learned, but eventually when we truly walk in faith and trust, we unlock our true powers and open the door to real miracles. And I don't think there's anything in this world, and the Course of Miracles makes this very clear, there's nothing in this world that can even be a glimpse of what I'm speaking of here. I know that that's true. And I also know that I've got barriers to that awareness. In the introduction of the Course, it says the Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that's beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. True love is our inheritance. It's already there, but we have to lift all those blocks to the realization of who we are, because we've just buried the light within us with programs and fear and belief and hurts and pains and projections and on and on and on. So we've forgotten who we are. But I know we're remembering more and more every day, which is very awesome, and there again, hey Sandra, good to see you. So it's a process, but ultimately we can take the long way, or we can take the short way. And the short way is just keep your eye on the light, trust in God, no exceptions. And we have to be vigilant for God and his kingdom, as the Course says, be vigilant for God and his kingdom only. Don't forget that word only, because it's like, yeah, I'll be vigilant here. Oop, look at that. I think I want to go play in that illusion though. And you know what? It goes back to that quote in the Course. It says, delay is meaningless in eternity, but tragic in time. In other words, why do we do this to ourselves? I mean, really, that just shows how insane we are, right? Because we're still thinking, oh, I can fix this, I can change this, and if only this were different, or whatever the story is. And then maybe we're successful with what we think we need to do. And then it's like, well, shoot, I'm still angry, and I'm still fearful, or whatever, still judging, still seeing myself as separate, still don't like this person, well, whatever, you know. And again, all of this is what are we still clinging to that's keeping us from lifting the veil? And ultimately, it's to be self-realized, to overcome the world, to be awake. There's many different terms for it, but ultimately it is to realize who we are as spiritual, eternal beings, not a body. This is very temporal, this time here on earth. I think we need to maybe focus more on our eternal nature than this temporal thing, because in the realm of eternity, this is literally a blip on a movie screen, but we cling to it like it's the end-all, be-all. And so as we practice this, it gives us more self-control. Self-control is strength. Calmness is mastery. Eventually, we have to get to a point where our mood doesn't shift based on the insignificant actions of someone else. Don't allow others to control the direction of your life. Don't allow your emotions to overpower your intelligence. That being said, it's possible and also extremely necessary. So self-control is our strength. Calmness is mastery. I talk about it almost every week, above the battleground. It's where we just watch this movie and we're detached emotionally and we're just blessing it all. And we see, wow, that person, I thought they were a real jack. But you know what? They're not so bad after all. Now I can sort of see that they're here for our greatest good. Couldn't see that when I was in it. But now when I step back and open my heart, it's like, yeah, okay, everyone is playing their role. And they're doing it in exactly the way that they were called to do it. And sometimes the biggest jerks, or whatever we choose to call it, are we find out, wow, they were really a master teacher, and I never saw it that way till I got out of my own head, and I got to a place of centeredness, and so that is part of the awakening journey. I think that's a very high place. Acceptance of what is, Sandy, that's huge. Acceptance being a huge, huge word. So I just to give a little levity, I thought this was cute and relatable. So someone asked me what I've been up to lately, and I didn't quite know how to say. Oh, well, I'm healing generational trauma, current life trauma, slaying my inner demons, holding in my inner child, expanding my nervous system out of survival mode, and becoming a literal, unshakable badass. So I said, not much, how about you? So I think we could all relate to that. We're becoming a literal, unshakable badass. I love that. So not much, how about you? What are you up to these days? That pretty much has been my life in a nutshell. And so in closing, from Joshua, be strong and courageous. Have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for God is with you wherever you go. And in closing, the statement from the Course in Miracles, which goes right hand in hand with that, is, how can I be alone? How can I be afraid when God goes with me wherever I go? And there's a quote in the Course that says, if you knew who walked beside you on the path that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. So, lots to take in. I really appreciate everyone who always tunes in. I feel your strength, and I'm grateful to call you all my friends, and feel free to pass this along if you choose to. And in the meantime, I look forward. I will be in Florida, next week, and I'll be doing this from Florida, and looking forward to seeing some family down there, Ellen's family, and really, it's a time of celebration. It's really wonderful. So thank you all for everything. And in the meantime, be well, be happy, choose love, and let it all go. Take care. Namaste. Thank you, Janet.